So my name is Omar Rampersad. It's 12:27 p.m., July 11, 2019. And I'm going to talk today about some tweets I tweeted yesterday and today. ROSHINI 911. When I looked at it, those tweets were mine. My Twitter account is hacked and I do look at them. I'm looking at a way to get my tweets authenticated. So yesterday I went out um, to the library to get some scanning and to use the computer. And I was actually working on a very confidential matter. And so I was proofreading and using the printer and scanning and so on. So I was leaving the desk, frequently. And I had some copies of the document I was working on that I had proofread and made corrections. I had the old copy on the desk. So the library is frequented by 99.999% Chinese clients, for lack of a better word, users, I should say, and because it's a predominantly Chinese area. So there was a Chinese guy sitting next to me, and as I was at the end of about an hour of going back and forth, I was scanning the final copy and I came back and I was at the printer and I came back to the desk, which is about 10 feet away, maybe 15. And when I came back, the Chinese guy next to my desk was in my space, leaning over and going through my confidential paperwork. I had it face down. And there were multiple pages. So it was a stack of paper, but 15 pages. And he was going through them. So I tapped on his shoulder, and he didn't see me standing behind him. And I tapped on the shoulder and I said, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" Then he said, "Oh, I thought you had left." So I said, "Well, my bag is still there." "No, I didn't see your bag." He said, "My pen is still on there." I didn't see that either, according to him. So he was going through my confidential stuff that I had left for maybe 3 minutes on the desk, turned over. Well, the first page was turned over. Um, so when I came out of the library, I heard somebody. I actually came out of the library, and it was really sunny and warm. So I decided to get some sun. So I went behind the library, and there's a school nearby, and there's a track. So I went on the track for a couple laps while I was getting my sun. And some people who were walking by said red alert, and somebody walked by with a red t-shirt on. A black guy walked by with a red t-shirt on. And immediately I started getting these painful pulses on my legs. Um, so anyway, I went to the grocery store and I did groceries, and I was coming home, and as I walked in, this fellow who's constantly showing up around me walked out of the gate that I usually come in, and he had a yellow bright shirt on, orange. So I let him walk out, and I was tweeting. So I came in after he was at a distance, and As I was about to turn the corner and walk into the building, the entrance, um, this girl, um, this new girl to the building, she had moved in recently, came barreling through the driveway with a bicycle in front of me and went into the building. And so I stopped, and I recognized her as somebody who hangs around with the building superintendent's son. So I didn't want to make any contact with her because there is ongoing issues. So with court proceedings and so on, with his father, and he keeps showing up around me. So I didn't want to make contact with this person who is on friendly terms with the son. So I waited, and she didn't have a key. She didn't have a card, a pass card. So she waited at the door, and she kept looking back, thinking that I was going to follow her, and I had a card. I think that's the reason she did it. As to the timing, that's a whole different question. Um, I am being monitored in the building and in the area. So if there's an alert, then people would come out, they'd be tracking me and be coming out to take a look, to check me out, see what's going on. So she kept turning back at the door to see whether I was coming behind her, maybe to open the door. And of course, I didn't. And after about a minute or two, the building superintendent's son came and opened the door for her. But instead of him going back in with her, he walked out of the building and stood at the entrance, looked at me directly, got on the phone, and I heard him say something like, "Okay, okay." Um, I think I heard she's okay, but he said okay, and he was looking at me directly. It's okay, or something like that. But I specifically heard okay a couple times as he was looking directly at me. And as soon as he did that, and he got off the phone, he turned and he went back into the building. So after he went in and disappeared, I went in. So let's talk about alert systems and the experiment that is going on in this building that also includes the participation of the cops who are running this. So the flagging is done with the cops. And I heard the flag was placed on my name again because I was flagged a long time ago and continuously being flagged without my knowing. Now I know. It went on for a long time before I had any indication, any clue that this is going on. So I was being terrorized and stalked, but I didn't know this was going on until very recently. So, as I said, as I was saying, being as a result of this flagging and outsourced monitoring and alert system, um, I am being monitored continuously. So yesterday was a really good example of an alert being made by anybody and people coming out to check me out. And I suspect this is what the building superintendent's son was doing. Um, so this whole experiment is being run by the police because the police is allowing private citizens by flagging and outsourcing the surveillance to follow and stalk and harass and mob because that's what an alert system is. If an alert goes out to the community that this person was too sharp in the library, and I'm suspecting that's what triggered the alarm, because I asked the guy, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" And I didn't say much after that. He explained why he was doing what he's doing. So he thought I left, and I pointed out that I had the bag there, so there's no reason for him thinking that I left. And I didn't, after pointing out the bag and the pencil and the pen, Um, I didn't say anything to him after that. I ignored him. And when I was finished, I just left. I didn't say a word to him after that. I mean, there isn't much to do, really. So, and it's such a, I mean, it could have been made into a bigger deal, but to me, it's not something that was even worth spending my energy dealing with or escalating. It just is one of those things that it's just a human nature. So to me, it was irrelevant, almost irrelevant. Um, but yet, there was an alert that was sent out because I asked the guy what he was doing with my papers, my confidential papers. In other words, a target is not supposed to fight back in any way. You're not supposed to ask questions. You're not supposed to stand up to anybody, or else if you do, then these alerts are going to go out, and you're going to get mobbed. You're going to get harassed. You're going to get stalked, and the power of the directed energy weapons that's being used on you are going to be turned up. Tasers, lasers, microwaves, masers, whatever it is that's being used, it's going to be turned up. So really, this is an enslavement program. Anybody who's flagged this way, publicly or not, are really being pushed down into a subhuman level. Because once you're flagged and you're treated this way, then anybody could do anything to you and get away with it. Anybody could hit you, anybody could rape you, anybody can kill you, anybody could torture you, anybody could stalk you, harass you, incite you to anger, do all sorts of crimes against you, get away with it. Nothing will be done to them because you're now a target, a subclass, uh, no longer a human being. You're an it, and you're constantly referred to as an it, as a slave, as a target, which is really another way of saying that you're a slave. This is what it's really all about. Now, slaves could be raped, they could be trafficked, which is exactly what is going on under this flagging system. Remote trafficking, remote voyeurism, remote masturbation rings, that people who are looking at you inside of your home and masturbating when you're taking a shower, when you're sleeping, when you're in the bathroom. You could be taken advantage of in any possible way at all. And nobody's going to do anything about it, least of all the cops. The cops are not going to do anything about it. In fact, they're taking part in it, the dirty ones. So this is a whole conspiracy. This is it's more than a conspiracy. It's criminal activity. It's a criminal ring. When kids are in school, pedophiles in the system chooses kids to be acted upon remotely by these pedophiles, and they train them as sex slaves as they get older. So once you pass a certain age, maybe 40, and that you get passed around and you have all these remote people looking at you, hundreds, thousands, all kinds of people in all kinds of different places, different titles, different levels of society, then the effort is made to have you settle down with one person. So that one person will orchestrate your disposal because now you're too old or you're too whatever. So you can't be used by the pedophiles anymore. You can't be used for voyeurism anymore. So let's find another use for you. Put you behind bars, put you in a psych ward, and maybe run other experiments on you. So there's a use, but other uses. There's no longer a sexual use, or disable you, keep you in one place so you could be remotely raped, repeatedly raped. Maybe necrophiliacs are in the system, and they want you in one place, disabled and grotesque looking, and Satanism practiced within this program, satanic ritual abuse, sodomization, constant sodomization if you're in one place and you can't get up and you can't move. All sorts of weird criminal sexual activity. will be perpetrated against a target, and nobody will do anything about it. Now, I talked about in some of my tweets, and I tweeted some videos from the YouTube about the caste system in India. And there are some Indian people in this building. There are also some Muslim people in this building, Somalis who are Muslims. And in these cultures, there is sex slavery practiced. There is the caste system is a slave system. So sex slave is, well, enslavement is practiced in India under a different name. The caste system is an enslavement system, and it's still being practiced on an everyday basis. And the cops are not doing anything about it in India either. So here we are in Canada, where women are supposed to be free and have all these rights, and we are being enslaved by simply by somebody putting a flag next to our names based on lies because they decide to be that the person is good for trafficking, or some pedophile decide that a child is what he wants, that a specific child, and will use this program to train the child as his slave and then pass her around. So there are many layers to this community targeting program, and it is being practiced in this building. Of course, I have absolutely no doubt that I'm not the only victim in the building this is being done to. But because it's an open secret and people think that nobody's going to do anything about it ever, and you can do anything and get away with it, it's openly talked about outside my window by anyone and by everyone, anyone and everyone outside the window openly, contractors, visitors, workers, residents. They talk openly about it because they know it's all covered, it's all fixed, nothing is going to be done about it. And I'm subhuman, I'm not human, so they can talk about it freely, no, not a problem. So when it's all fixed, it means that every level of society that the target comes in contact with is is infiltrated, and they know that the person is a target, and they will, if not if not willingly take part, they will be forced to take part, or else they'll become targeted themselves. But this is a lie. This is an absolute lie. The truth is, once you take part, then you really become targeted because then you have a secret to keep, and they will come after you to make sure that you keep the secret, that you don't speak out against it, that you don't take action against it, that you don't turn against this criminal ring. So they will keep tabs on you. They will have to follow you around and eavesdrop on you and spy on you to make sure that you're not talking once you take part in it. So the best thing to do, of course, is not to take part in it. So this is what happened yesterday. I tweeted all about it. The cops, of course, are involved in this trafficking because they flagged me in the first place. I'm suspecting that there was a pedophile ring that was operating in Etobicoke. That's where I grew up and went to school. And I was in this program back then. And then once the pedophiles are finished with you, I was transferred into another area where I could be taken advantage of by another set of people. And in this building, these were the Chinese traffickers. And then they escalated the program to use remote technologies to customize using lasers, tasers, haptic technology. These are all new technologies that's coming on into the market, coming on board, uh, being brought on board by organizations, corporations that are selling it openly on the internet and for medical reasons and so on. So these things can be adapted to remotely rape, to cause psychological harm, to change brainwave patterns, to change sleep patterns, to cause heart attacks, aneurysms, and so on. And I've demonstrated this in several of my videos using very, very simple technology like microwave detectors, infrared thermometer, blood pressure measurements, and so on, using just a very inexpensive blood pressure monitor. So you don't need a whole lot of expensive technology to expose the technology that's being used to torture, rape, and kill, basically. So I just wanted to put my face on video, just repeating what I tweeted, basically. So it's gone on 20 minutes, and I'm going to stop talking there.